All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm glad to see everybody's faces. Um, Today, we are having our speaker, Alba Morales, talk about a subject that I think it's been quite a while since we've had someone talk about such an important topic, which is our animals, our tender, loving animals that we love so much. And without further ado, because it's already 5 past, Alba, please, talking about animals, our loving companions.
Hear me now? Now it's on. I can use. Oh, I hear myself now. Okay. Thank you to my technical team. Makeup, please. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's so good to see friendly, familiar faces in both realms. And yes, 10 years ago, we did this presentation, actually, in 2013. We, how do you say, we revamp, we renew it, the concepts we can't because they are coming from this, the Spirit's book, but we add a little bit more and took some things off. And this is to honor our younger brothers and sisters on planet Earth, our beloved animals. And when we were praying, let me tell you, but there are some, and we will understand this later, spiritual reflections of animals here. Like I saw a lot of butterflies, what's the Bambi? Deers, and a lot of them. I kind of let us feel like we are sitting in the garden, and there are a lot of them. So we would like to start our presentation in loving memory of Sarah, our dear Karina Carisotti. Okay, uh, Karina Sotti. She's a member of the Spiritist Society of Baltimore, and Sarah was her loving companion until a month ago. Uh, Very lovely, with some a lot of friends, and very sweet, help other people to heal. So this is to honor our dear Sarah. Sarah. Okay, so we're going to start with a little bit of history. And we found this in a website by Professor Douglas Oldlinder. And he's an American author, narrator, historian. And the website is called Famous Trials. And it's hosted by University of Missouri. And it's actually talking about legal aspects of our lives. And there, you want to see the trial of so-and-so that was very popular, is there. But there is an article about the history, about the relationships between humans and animals. And it called our attention because it also introduced some legal aspects of it that we are going to put it aside because we want to focus in this, what's the story? So the article is called Humans and Animals, A Brief History of Our Complicated Relationship. And he goes from prehistorical times to nowadays. So what we're going to do here is just to have a quick glimpse and how is being our relationship with animals. And since we start walking in 2 feet as a Homus erectus or Homus erectus, we have a relationship with animals. And here he said either for food, by meat and meal, for work, transportation, pets control, and companionship. So he has given us some dates here that about 2 million years ago in the African savanna, we start having this relationship by observation. Also, we learn the behavior of each animal, and we as a humanity, we observe which one, because all of them, they were savage there, right? Wild. Uh, so we observe behaviors, and we start looking with our intelligence and see, maybe this fluffy thing that now we call sheep is going to be useful for us. So actually, that was the very first animal that we domesticate between 12,000 and 9,000 before Christ in Southwest Asia. So we use animals again to provide for ourselves. We as a humanity, we start as hunters. As a matter of fact, and we forgot the name of the doctor, Jesus. Oh, the Professor Linder says that we were more scavenger hunters than hunters, which means we were running after the hyenas or the lions or whoever are the, how do you say the ones that eat meat? Predators, thank you. And usually, this is a kind of a fact, but it's what we did. Usually the predators, they cannot eat the head of the animal because of the skull. It's too hard to break. So we, unga, right? Cavemans, we were after this and developed instruments and tools to go to the scalp and, utilize everything for food, for tools, etc., etc. Later on, when we discover agriculture, because it was a discovery, right? And because we were nomads, we were from place to place after these groups of predators or animals in for food. Once we get stable, when we get into an area in which we have cultivation, life is a bit different for us. So then we have some other needs. And we start domesticating other animals, and there are different cultures or different uses of the animals according with the cultures or ethnicities, right? So in ancient times, we domesticate horses and camels and elephants and llamas. For transportation, donkeys, mules, for transportation, for building things, and the relationships between humans and animals were of a sacred relationship in general. In general, obviously, we are talking about evolution, so we know that we also have abuse, and we have been abusing animals for so long. So in a general way, in ancient times, it was a respect for animals according also with the religious beliefs. And you may say, oh, Albita, but there are some groups that they do sacrifices like the Jewish, sacrificing the lambs and da da da. How come that is respect? That is respect because they weren't sacrificing the animal just for fun, or let us take all this group and slaughter them. No, it was with a purpose, with a religious purpose. And it wasn't the whole herd, it was only one at certain time. It wasn't for fun like a sport. It was because of beliefs and it was because of survival. So as the Native Americans, we are going to see that they took what was necessary, no more than that. Hmm? And it is so interesting to see how from ancient times also it was this respect, the respect for animals, that in Exodus 20 there is this excerpt that it says respect or remember the Sabbath. Sabbath or Sabbath? Sabbath. So the day that we don't work, Jewish, don't work, stop, pray, is a day for God. Well, so that day is, until nowadays, is very important, is very sacred, but also, and let us read just for emphasis, it says, remember the Sabbath day, by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. And this is connected also from the uh, mythology, the creation, the God create the world and the universe in 6 days and rests on the seventh day. It's coming from that. We know it wasn't that way, right? Or on it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreign residing in your towns. So here we see how animals are taken care of. Because if we take, like nowadays, the Bedouins, is that a correct? The Bedouins in the Sahara, the relationship with their animals is very close, because this is my camel and this is my ticket for survival. So if I don't take care of this creature, it means I'm going to die here. So I need to take care of this animal, of this creature. And the relationship between the Bedouin and the camel is very close. It's like a brotherly or fraternal relationship, right? And you may say, "Wow, Bita, but I saw some TikTok videos and YouTube videos, and God knows all these people abusing camels, elephants." Yes, yes, it is true. There are. And from ancient times, and we are going to see here with the Greeks, from ancient times, philosophers and other people with the time to think and not to think in survival, they realize that all those human beings that respect, love animals, that show some affection or consideration towards animals, they also were able to respect and show some consideration to human beings. And the opposite was true. So all of those who abuse animals, that treat them as they once suffer, as they were things, inert things, like this podium. It doesn't matter how much I hit it, it won't suffer, it's not alive. Uh, Also, these people have difficulties relating with humans. It's less compassion. So the more I develop, I'm compassionate towards animals and nature, the more I am to humans, because guess what? We are part of nature. We are part of that chain of food, and we're at the very top. So we are part from the biological, organic point of view. We are also somehow animals. We're not saying that, but we are at the top of the chain, of the food chain. Food chain? Yes. So how do we say the name of this wonderful philosopher? Aristotle? Aristotle. So we love him. And Platon. and Socrates. But Aristotle, he said that he observed that animals lack reason, logos, reasoning, logismos, thought, dianoia, and belief, doxa. So he's already checking some important points that are going to demonstrate how humans and animals are different. We share the planet, but we have some differences. And he agreed with the Old Testament authors that animals rightfully rank far below humans in the great chain of being. So they are below us in the sense of evolution. He wrote the history of animals, and in this history of animals, he shows a lot of respect for them. And the text extends more and more, but you just want to bring some glimpse of what was happening on those ancient times in Greece. And then we go to the medieval times. And on a personal note, we don't like them. It was the night, the darkest night of humanity in all senses of evolution. Morally speaking, intellectually speaking, because intellectually speaking, this was only the work of few people, and the rest of the people, they were poor and ignorant. A lot of superstitions, a lot of aggression. So here we are in the midnight of humanity, and we have a couple of people here that they were far and beyond their people of their times. One of them is Thomas Aquinas, that is saint in the Catholic Church, and he published a book called Of God and His Creatures. And in it, he argues that the behavior of animals was entirely driven by natural instincts, not by any reason or purposeful motivation. Animals, according to Aquinas, had no comprehension of the future and lived only in the present. And he saw this as a proof that animals lacked immortal souls, unlike humans. So this is taking us to our central point of the presentation about animals, because why we're doing a presentation in the Spiritist Center about animals, we are going to try to define if animals, they have a soul or a spirit like humans. Do they live in the spiritual world? And if so, is it like a dog's heaven, a cat's heaven, a horse heaven? So we're going to address those questions, but what we want to show in history is we have some philosophers that they were already thinking about it, observing, and going through the right direction. And then we have our beloved Francis of Assisi. And Francis was said to preach to animals, and whenever he discovered a live animal in trap, he released it. Francis is considered the patron saint of animals and ecology. And as a matter of fact, there are so many anecdotes about St. Francis of Assisi and his relationship with animals, like the wolf of Gubia, that he was, the wolf of Gubia, he was like a lazy wolf that he said, oh, those humans, they have this cattle there. I'm not going hunting over there. I'm just going to the fast food, right? So it was just feeding himself with the cattle of the Gubian people. And they were very afraid of the wolf because it seems like it was big and very, very wild. So here it goes, St. Francis of Assisi, that is said to be the reincarnation on John the Apostle. St. Francis of Assisi is the spirit that has been, talking about evolution, being very close to be like Jesus. You know? So he goes there, all natural, and address the situation, what he said. And the people, what? They are eating the cattle. Next is going to eat our babies. What are we going to do? We're going to kill it. Burn the wolf. Just imagine medieval times. A lot of superstitions and a lot of. So Francis say, no, wait. He's a creature of God. Let us think in an animal that we don't like. An animal, because we have animals that we don't like. We don't like cockroach, for instance. And just imagine like we see a cockroach, a Brazilian one that are big, Colombian ones. And we're like, kill that thing. And here he comes, him, and he talks with the cockroach and say, okay, my sister, my brother, you need to go out there. And we are like, take it out, that's the real. So he started talking with the wolf as if the wolf were understanding. The wolf is not able to understand human words, but as a living being, is able to perceive the vibration of Francis. I come here, I'm not going to kill you, I'm not going to confront you. I just want to check that you're okay, and we are going to try to see how to work this between you and the Gubians. And the wolf, as an animal, perceive the energy. All of us. Somehow he tamed the wolf, somehow. And then the people from Gubia decided to feed the wolf by putting some, like plates with meat. So the wolf learned, and this is part of domestication, that is another talk, how to domesticate animals. So the wolf learned to feed himself from what the people were offering to him rather than from the cattle. And there are more and more stories about it. And St. Francis of Assisi, he called sister bird, brother dog, because we are all part of the same creation. We are different though, but we are part of the same creation. And as we mentioned before about superstitions in medieval times, so from medieval times arise the idea of dragons and unicorns and all these fantastic animals, because they weren't an explanation for what they were observing, or they were just creating tales. And also from medieval times derives the story of black cats. That is say like a black cat is bad luck, so don't allow yourself to get near a black cat. And the witches, they have black cats. So here is what happens. Certainly it was a persecution of witches, which in reality, maybe some of them they were. We don't have facts to say they weren't. They were contacting the other side, the spiritual side, by mediumship, probably low entities, as well as some others. But most of them, they were mediums. Most of them, they were women. Most of them, they love cats. It just happened. Cats and dogs and birds, but most of them, they were with cats. So people connect the witch, the evil, the bad. And actually it was Catholic Church working very hard on implanting those ideas in people's mind, because we were ignorant. And it was a way to control, right? Control. So they decide to exterminate cats. And we're talking about Europe, medieval times. So a lot of volunteers exterminate cats. Cats, they were domesticated to control pets. Ancient times, especially Egyptians. They were the ones who came with the idea like, he likes to eat the mice. Well, okay, he's going to be my friend. But in medieval times, they forgot about it, and they said, cats are bad. Animals are not bad nor good. They, we cannot judge them with a moral measure, because they are not. They don't have spirits. We are going to see it. Animals are. They behave the way they behave because of instinct and because they need it to survive, to continue, the species. So what happens when you exterminate cats in a place where there is no electricity, there is no running water, when we put all the grain here in stacks in one room, when we don't know what is a shower, when we're talking medieval times. There is no toothbrush around. We don't want to be gross, but it's just to have the scenario. What population of animals is going to grow? Yes, mice, rats. They were joyful and happy. And what happened? Okay, hold on. Let us finish the story. That later on, because they transmit a lot of diseases, so the black fever almost killed almost the entire population of Europe, and some other diseases that mice and rats, roedores, transmit. So they say, okay, seems like cats are useful. Let us not exterminate them. However, the superstition survived until nowadays. There are people that they don't like black cats. If you go to a shelter to adopt a cat, you will see a lot of black cats left behind. They don't like it. They're just cats with a lot of color in their fur. They're different, but nothing evil about them, right? And we jump to America because we wanted to see, we also admire so much the relationships that Native Americans created between animals and different uh, indigenous nations. So this relationship is the result of tens of thousands of years connecting with animals and respecting not only animals but nature itself. So in Native American traditions, animals are sometimes used to communicate the values and the spiritual beliefs of Native communities. That is why we see some of them called like a old eagle or names of the sort. But it's because the eagle represents a spiritual value. We don't know which one, we're not going to say. A wolf, the bear. It's not because the animal itself is sacred, or, well, it's sacred because it's alive, but it's not like the eagle possessed the skill of soaring and get closer to God. No, if we put science, we say, no, an eagle is an eagle. It's beautiful. It's amazingly beautiful. But it's representing what we believe as Native Americans. They are very respectful of the environment, and they believe in honoring the animals or the lives of animals by only taking what is needed and to return to nature what we don't use. When we are fishing, select the fishes that we are going to sell, and then the other ones, they are not really good, they need to go back. So it is a way to maintain balance. And here, our Western society, we have failed. We have failed by taking more than what we need, and by wasting, and by making hunting a sport that it happened later on in Europe. with all the horses. Have you seen those movies? All the, and it was also a way to demonstrate your social class. We're going hunting. Nobody could say, I'm going hunting in the horses and after foxes, etc. And it was rules and regulations about hunting, etc. So the thing is our relationship with animals. So the dear scientist Charles Darwin, he said that the love for all living creatures is the most noble attribute of a man. All. Albeit even the snakes, yes. Because that is also part of the, like an imaginary that we humans have been creating, saying, oh, snakes are bad. In the Bible, it was a snake who tempted Eve. So therefore, snakes are bad. And we are being very simple here. But it goes, it transcends time and space. And then, what about a cute, fluffy dog? White and curly hair. There are so many of them here. We're like, oh, you're so cute, right? But what if in a movie they show this dog in a negative role, like now we forgot the name, a bull. No, the one riders, the wool riders, the uh, pit bull. Thank you. And in the pit bulls. In the 70s, it was like actually two movies, one with Dobermans, that they were trained to be robbers. And now they're thieves. And also it's another movie about a horror movie in which this very black dog represent the devil. And we forgot the huh? Oops. Okay, so we ourselves have an imaginary and we attribute moral qualities to animals, and then unconsciously we reject. Now, we will reject mice and rats because we know they transmit diseases and they are no friendly friends to have at home, right? Or mosquitoes, or yes, it is true. But it's reorganizing our relationship about them, right? So currently, is the llama smiling? So after so many years of abusing animals for different type of things, still there are the dog fights and all these things that we don't want to bring here. We already see in the news. We want to highlight the positive, and we are living in one of the most amazing times in relation with taking care of the environment and animals. Because never before, a lot of us worldwide, we decide to protect the whales. We decide to protect the tigers. And we decide to protect all these species that are about to disappear from the face of Earth. And therefore, we have been creating a lot of organizations, non-profit organizations. We just found 14 of them, in the Google, ASPCA, that it was found in 1886 here in the United States. The Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF, is one of our favorites because you can give a friend a birthday gift by donating to this organization. We are helping. We choose what animal to help. We can adopt. Recently, we adopt a jaguar for our nephew. And whatever amount of money that you give is going to provide this jaguar with the food or the health care, whatever is necessary. Unfortunately, they cannot send us pictures of the jaguar, but they give you a certificate that, this is not a promotion for WWF, okay? But they give you a certificate. I adopt a jaguar, and they give you a little stuffed animal. But you know that you are contributing to help. That's one way. The other way is volunteering. If we like animals, volunteering, especially with shelters and with non-profit organizations that they host animals. Those loving puppies and kitties that people acquired usually during Christmas time, and they're cute and they grow up and they're not cute anymore and they abandon them, still thinking that it's an object, and they can perceive emotions and they suffer. We inflict pain on them. So there are also these sanctuaries in which they receive all these uh, undesirable pets from other people as well. People abandon pets that are old. It implies a lot of work, a lot of care, but they abandon them. So there are also sanctuaries in which we can volunteer, or if we are unable to take care of our pet, why not to put it in this sanctuary to live there the rest of the years that they have? Okay, so this is about history, but about spirituality, and we don't know. Whoop, very little time. The question: after we see history, after Aristotle and Thomas of Aquino and all of them, the question is, do animals have a soul like a human beings? Do they? No. Yes, raise your hand. No, raise your hand. I don't know. Okay, no.
I think animals do have a soul. They're created by God, and we're all led to believe we're all created by God. Now that's
I will
debatable.
repeat. Thank you.
But like I said, I believe animals have a soul, because if we're all created by God, well, we we have energy in us, and our energy is our soul.
Okay.
And animals, my belief, have souls.
Okay. Thank you, Marty. Drop the mic. We finished the presentation. Seriously. Yes, Marty. Yes. And we're going to see in the Spirit's book, in question and answer 76, we find the definition of spirit. Soul is a spirit in the flesh, incarnated, right? But all of us, we are spirits. So we're going to see what's the difference between the spirit and whatever animates an animal. So spirits are the intelligent beings of creation, and they populate the universe beyond the material world. Intelligent beings. Now, we are going to see the difference between intelligence and instinct, because animals, they have their instincts, right? So how the mama hen take care of the chickens. Have you seen that picture? This is the picture of that mama hen soaking wet and all the chicks underneath her wings. And we say, oh my God, that's lovely. That's instinct to protect, or to hunt. I love lioness because they are the providers and they are the hunters, and they teach their cubs, or whatever is the name of the cubs, to hunt while the lion is just sitting there, right? But and this is by instinct and generation after generation. So there is a spirit there. Let's see. So again, in the Spirit's book, question and answer 71, Intelligence and matter are independent of each other. Okay, so we have here something. It's telling us that intelligence belongs to the spirit. My body without me, spirit, is nothing. It doesn't have intelligence. Okay. And then intelligence is a special faculty possessed by certain classes of organic beings. It means we humans, but what about animals? Let us continue. With intelligence, we can produce, we're having thoughts, continuous thoughts. We're thinking constantly. So now the question, does Chloe think constantly? Have you noticed that? Or Jora, or Joa, or Moisey? It feels like, but let's see what else. When we are intelligent, we have the willpower to act. I forgot the name of your cat, Maria Cristina. Your cat, what's your cat's name? Buddy. Buddy is a cat, so it looks like he has willpower. But do they have the willpower to say when they need to come to shape? Like, I'm going to do diet, I'm going to lose weight? No, we need to put them in a diet, right? Really, it's not, that's a decision for the owner or whoever it is. So thought and willpower are characteristics of an intelligent being. And the very last one, awareness of their own existence and individuality. They are aware of their own existence and individuality? Somehow, says blah.
What I notice is that they have a sense of self-protection.
Oh, okay. They have the sense of self-protection.
Yeah, and by doing so, I think they might. Yeah, they have a sense of self-protection. So I assume that at some extent they might have some sort of awareness that if I do this, I'll get myself hurt. I can tell this by my dog. She doesn't go to a place that she doesn't feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, that's Chloe, you're spoiled, baby.
Yeah. No, by observation.
No, you're right. That's valid.
Yeah.
That's valid what you're saying. But when we say awareness of our very own existence, and we humans worry about the future, what I am going to do, what is going to be my life when I am 95, who is going to take care of me, what am I going to eat tomorrow for lunch? I don't know. That's, individuality. And you mentioned something that is instinct, that is the self-preservation. So we humans, we also have the same instinct of self-preservation. But also, we clearly distinguish from one another. Each one of us, we have our personality, our character, our tastes. When an animal just is part of the group and is a leader by instinct because it's necessary, like the wolves. But it's not like and they also, with the thought and the awareness of their own existence, they don't philosophize. Yes, Marty?
I got an example. Folks, I have a parrot named Yoda. Now, he's got the intelligence of a 5 or 6 year old. And if you think animals can't make decisions and think for themselves, you're wrong. Now, let me explain. My parrot can imitate the phone, and you can't, is it Memorex or is it the phone? He imitates the phone so accurately, you can't tell the difference. Now, parrots require a lot of attention like puppies. All right. So this was before I met my angel here. Yoda was my friend, my buddy, my companion. So I would be watching television and he'd be sitting there and he would think, he said, man, I'm by myself. I would need attention. So he'd go, "Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo," like the phone ringing. "Doo-doo-doo-doo." And I'd go over there and I'd go, hello? He'd go, hello, it's Yoda. Hello, it's Yoda. So they do think and they can reason. And folks, this is the truth.
Oh, that is so sweet. Thank you, Marty. Thank you for sharing the story. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving because of time. But yes, one of the things that we read in the history relationship between humans and animals is that some animals, they're able to learn some human behavior by repetition, and because their organs are able, like the parrot, they can just repeat like a recording, but they are not conscious or aware of the language by itself. Sometimes you're talking with your dog and you say, oh my God, if he answered to me, it's like I feel he's understand me. Is that they don't understand human language per se. They understand, yes, some directions, but is the tone, is the physical posture. There are a lot of things going on. So parrots, chimpanzees, gorillas, elephants, they are able to imitate human behavior, but it doesn't mean that they are thinking by themselves, right? So the three things that distinguish us humans, differentiate from animals, is we think, we have the willpower to say, yes, I will go on a diet or not. We are struggling with that, that's why I would say. And awareness of our own existence and individuality. We are eternal spirits. We know well, we have so many other reincarnations in the past. We know that we are in the present reincarnation to fix, to attune, to repair, to do something in this life. We question ourselves. Why are we in this world? What is my mission in this life? Animals, they don't have all of this. They live day by day. So instinct is a type of intelligence that is not reasoning intelligence, through which all beings provide for their own needs, like the mama hen, like this tiger, etc. It's an instinct, is intelligence, but it's not reasoning. Oh, it is time. It is lunchtime. Let me go hunt for my babies. Because then they will, no, it's just, we're hungry, we need to eat. Let's go. That's it. We need to sleep. And all the organic functions. And there is no time, notion of time. Not at all. No past, no future. It's just today. So, am I intelligent or not? Says this doggy. Animals have a kind of intelligence that is concentrated on the means of satisfying their physical needs and providing for their self-preservation. Instinct. So yes, they are, but it's for self-preservation. So Yoda learned how to imitate the phone ring, to get attention, to get food, to get what it needs. And same with Chloe. She learning how to manipulate. No, just kidding. But it's for self-preservation. And this is in the Spirit's book. Animals cannot make any progress by themselves. They need us to make any progress. So, he's asking, but okay, I am intelligent, I have instinct, but do I have a soul? So in question and answer, the Spirit's books 597, Kardec says that animals have a spiritual principle which survives the body. That's what basically Marty told us. He said, yes, I believe there is some sort of energy. It is called a spiritual principle. In some other countries, they call it dynamo-psychism. It's a term to say there is a principle. And a principle is like the seed of a sequoia. This big, huge, humongous. So the seed, we don't know what is the size of a seed of a sequoia, but let's say it's like that. This is not the sequoia, but it contains all the information for the sequoia to grow. So if we put it in the right soil and the elements of nature, provide whatever is needed, roots start going down, sprout, etc. And it takes years and years and years to have these marvelous trees. So now, is the tree the same like the seed? No, it is not. It is different. So the spiritual principle is the seed. The spirit, and this is just an analogy, is the sequoia itself, with its branches and growing, and the roots communicating with other sequoias, etc., etc. So animals are that little tiny seed, and they are in a state of evolution in which they need our help to grow, to evolve, and also by themselves, because there are so many animals that are still in the wild, so they by themselves. So what happened between the spiritual principle of the animals and the soul of human beings? That there is a great distance and difference, the same like is between us, our spirit, and God. So yes, they are living beings that deserve our love, our care, our respect. We need to honor them, but they are not humans. And sometimes our tendency in this side of the world is to humanize animals, which is okay. It is a way for humans to learn also compassion towards other humans. But that's the difference. The difference between my horse and me is that. So for animals, we are gods, right? That's the difference. And then we come to what happened with the spiritual principle when the organic life ceases. So what happened? Where it goes? The little light, Well, in the same book, the Spirit's book, questions 598 to 600, that the spirits say, after death, the animal's spiritual principle retains its individuality, but not its self-awareness. Its intelligent life remains in a latent state. We're going to explain a little bit more. After its death, an animal's spiritual principle is classified by the spirits in charge of doing so, because there are spirits working with animals and with nature. And in medieval times, they call fairies and whatever is all the fantasy that we have around, that if you go to that forest, forbidden because they're the spirit of the forest. Well, yes, there are spirits in charge of that. And this spiritual principle is utilized almost immediately. Immediately. It is not given time to enter into relations with other creatures. So basically, because animals, they are in a state of evolution in which they are intelligence by instinct. So here we go. They don't need to suffer. Suffering is not a way for them to evolve, because they can reason, oh, I suffer today, therefore I'm going to be better tomorrow. It's not. That is why if we have an ill animal or a sick animal and there is nothing to do for it, we can put them to sleep. We are not promoting that. This is a personal decision, but it's nothing wrong with that. Because animals, they don't grow, they don't evolve by suffering. So what is the purpose of this poor horse that broke the leg and nobody can fix it? It's going to prolong an agony that is not needed. So once the animal, let us call discarnate, it is no need for that spiritual principle to stay in the spirit realm for long because they're not going to learn anything. They need the density of the body to continue their movement of evolution. So let's take in the horse, broke his leg. We need to sacrifice the horse. The good spirits take care of the spiritual principle. And almost immediately they say, okay, here is a little another little horse that is going to come to the world, and we don't know how those connections are. Here we go. Or they decide to move from one species to another. This is another talk, really, how the spirits decide why my dog now needs to be a dolphin or things of the sort, right? So also, it depends on the good mentors of animals. Some spiritual principle stay for a bit longer in the spirit realm. And that's why there are so many true accounts or true stories. My doggy passed away, but you know why? I just saw her like I'm moving here. Just stay a little bit, that energy, for a little bit. And then we say, go and evolve in a better creature. We may encounter them in the future, eventually, at some point, because we made a connection. So here we're going to finish with these two ideas, the animals in the spiritual world. In Memoirs of a Suicide, the spirit Camilo, he narrates the presence of different species of animals in the spiritual world. He mentions that there are horses helping groups of spirits. They were helping to carry some chariots. So there are some animals in the spirit world that they stay there to help and to assist. And we took this from Leonardo Marmo Moreira, from the magazine O Consolador, or The Consoler. And also he mentions in our home, on No Solar, in chapter 33, there are some mules, dogs, and birds. They work with the spirits that are going to the lower regions to rescue spirits. And why the spiritual principle of these animals is needed is so because, let's say, we are in a suffering state in this space. We need also to relate with something that we have here on earth. So if I'm able, as a spirit in suffering, I'm able to perceive the spiritual principle of a dog, and I love dogs, let's say, it is easier for me to let myself be helped by the spirits. So as in planet Earth, animals have been used for therapies or for different things. Also the same with animals. And this is a parenthesis, and we're about to finish. This is a parenthesis, and this is Alba Morales thinking. because we love our spirited pets. And we're thinking, what if we know that when this spiritual principle goes to the spirit realm, because it receives a lot of stimulus and love and care, stays there and help? It will be lovely to think the Moisey and all of them. And again, here, dogs facilitates the work, mules support loads, patiently provide heat in areas where it is needed. And everything is because of the dog. We were planning on reading the Canticle of the Creatures by uh, St. Francis of Assisi, but we are going to email it to you because it's a beautiful canticle. And we want to finish honoring our, in quotation, spiritist animals. Right, so here is Yoda, and here is. No, this is not Yoda. This is Ritas. Whose names? Well, I forgot now the names. And we have Chloe, etc. This beautiful baby passed away last week when we were. This is Rosaura's. Rosaura's cousin, but it was very loved by the families, uh, and they were grieving because we grieve, and it is okay to grieve them. Not as a human being, right? It's different, but it is okay because they were part of our life, and now they are not. But also we need to help them to move and to evolve because they can't evolve by themselves. And here's the second round. Oh, here is the baby. It's kind of dark. Can you turn off the light? Oh, still dark? It seems clear here. Yeah. And we have Moise, and we have Sarah, and we have Chris, Kat. Moise was in the previous one. And where's Moise? Oh, we have. I didn't without Moise? No. I miss Moise? Ay, Dios mío. I'm so sorry. Yes? So who is this one? This is Oscar. Look, please forgive us because look, Oscar, and look, Lucas, and look, this is Abby's, and look, Chloe. Oh my God, and you were the very first one to send me that. We apologize. Oh, no. I don't know. Should I show them? Okay. I'm so sorry, Leonie. Do we have time for questions or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Paul. Oh. Questions, comments?
Okay, Maria Cristina.
Do animals have some kind of mediumship?
Oh, very good question. Thank you. Maria Cristina said that in animals, do they have some kind of mediumship? Because we also have seen in news and different social media, like my cat is able to perceive something that was in the wall, or my dog, or okay. So let us think this. Mediumship, it is a faculty of the spirit, like intelligence. Now the question is, if it's a faculty of the spirit, and we already established that animals don't have a spirit, but a spiritual principle, do animals have mediumship or are able to see or communicate with the spirits? Jesus. Even though,
I think they can because
Hold on, let's use the mic. Hold on.
you watch a lot of these paranormal. I think animals can communicate and see the spirits because many times I've seen on TV where a dog reacts. Humans can't see it, but the dog is looking at something we can't see. He's looking at that spirit, and sometimes they bark, sometimes they get frantic-y, they get nervous, and I've seen them run under the bed and hide,
mhm,
and nothing was there. So they say
mhm.
dogs, animals can see spirits better than we can.
Okay. So it again. Intelligence is a faculty of the spirit. We humans, we are spirits. And we established that animals, they have a spiritual principle. Their intelligence is instinct. Okay? So there is a difference. Then, mediumship, it is a faculty of the spirit like the intelligence. Therefore, animals, they don't have the ability, the skills, the tools to be mediums. We know that their senses are well developed. Bats, they can hear, and orientate by what they hear, and we are unable to hear what they hear. Or the sight of some animals, like cats, they can see in the night, everything is dark, and we stumble in the dark. Because our senses, human senses, well, they are not as developed as some animals, but we have something better that is intelligence, so we create the light bulb to see at night. Well, now, they are living beings, and as they are able to perceive who loves them, also they are able to perceive who threatens them or don't like them. And they may perceive the vibration of a presence, but they don't see it. They don't hear it. They remember the difference between the spiritual principle of an animal and humans. We compare that difference between we humans and God. Do we see God? Can we hear him or it? No. We can read its presence through its creation, but we are not able to grasp with our intelligence and reasoning at this very moment on planet Earth what is God. Okay, I see. Question? Okay.
Hi, I just wanted to go along with the sensing of an animal. When I lived downtown, my cat was very good at reading people. If somebody came to the door, might be a somewhat friend of mine, but not necessarily known, the cat would back off, was reading the energy. And one time really sensed there was nobody around, the presence of some kind of entity, and went like startling.
Mhm.
And the other comment was somewhere I read that, and this could fit very well with what you're talking about with the spiritual existence after death, is that animals participate in a group soul. I think it was similar to Rupert Sheldrake's morphogenic fields. So it's just another terminology to say they belong to some spiritual principle.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Paula. I think Daniel, behind the camera. The man behind.
Thank you, Alba. Great talk, great presentation. Now, I just wanted to go back with the explanation of mediumship. It's very important for us not to live here think that my cat is going to receive a message from a spirit or my dog and pass to us. But it's true what Martin said, and Paula and you, Alba. Animal has the capability to perceive threatening or lovely vibration. So, but they cannot rationalize, like immediately receive a message from a spirit and transmit that message to other people. So, um, i- in spirit is never going to say that a pet, a cat, is a medium. So this is a question of definition, I think nomenclature, but we cannot deny that animals has this capability to perceive just spirits, like vibration, the same way that police use trained dogs to uncover, like, illegal substance because they have a body that's able to the high sense of smell, for example.
Mhm.
But it's just like, so that's true. Like, dogs and can perceive, like, any bad vibration in the environment that sometimes we cannot, right? But that's not mediumship. Let's make this very clear. It's not
Yes.
mediumship.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank you.
Daniel. Uh,
Yeah, and like the elephants, remember that tsunami when there was the huge tsunami? The elephant sensed it and started to run,
mhm.
and that what saved lives for many locals because they
Mhm.
knew that a big danger was
Yes.
happening or gonna happen, and then they said they started to be alert about that.
Mhm.
So it's not mediumship, but just to
It's
show
a
how
sense.
sensitive
It's
they
a
are.
connection
Yeah,
with the planet,
yeah,
and we are as humans. We are able. We have that capability
yeah.
if we are more in touch with ourselves
Mhm.
and with others, but we are in a rush, the day-to-day life, etc., etc. So we stop and breathe and reflect. And Joanna de Angelis say that it's necessary for us just to walk in nature because we're going to recharge from the energies in nature. And if we observe, we can tell not only by the dark clouds on the sky that, oh, it's going to rain, without having our cell phone telling us it's going to rain, is we observe the behavior of birds and some other animals, they start looking for shelter, and we know, oh, it's going to rain. And that's also our ancestors, they use animals to help themselves to read, let us say, Mother Nature. I think we are good for one more comment. Okay, yes, Antonia.
I have a question. Can a medium communicate with the animal, a live animal?
It's the same. Thank you, Antonia. It's the same. Let's say, are you able to communicate with Jora, like a human and an animal? Yes, we communicate and we connect with animals in different forms of ways. So a medium can perceive the spiritual world, but animals, they don't have a language like the human language. Some animals, they develop their very own code, some sort of language like dolphins, etc., but it's not human language. So a medium may perceive the presence of a dog, like we told you at the beginning, that it looks like a beautiful garden of forests. Uh, there are animals there, but they don't have human language. It happened so many years ago when Colombia de Montoya, the founder of the first spiritist center in Colombia, she already passed away. Her daughter had a goose that followed the daughter everywhere she went, and the goose walked on the home, etc., etc. The goose passed away after so many years, and everybody was grieving that the goose went. So in one of the mediumistic meetings, Colombia, Señora Colombia, Mrs. Colombia, she saw the goose, and later on let her daughter know. It says, you know who was there in the mediumistic meeting? The spiritual principle of the goose. But it's not like the goose, tell mom I'm okay. No, it's there, and probably the spirits after it, because it was a message of comfort for the family, probably they took the spiritual principle of the goose and went somewhere else. All right. Daniel, do we have any comment or?
So just
Thank you
Rosalba
for
said,
this
Alba, thank
beautiful.
you for
Uh-huh.
this beautiful and interesting talk.
Thank you.
No comment from.
Okay. Okay. So let us love our younger brothers and sisters in evolution. We are responsible for them, for their safety. We are responsible for them to continue living the way they are, meaning, the herds of elephants. We don't need to disturb them. We need to protect their environment so they do what they need to do. As trillions of years ago, high evolved spirits did with us when we were doing our internship in the animal kingdom. And that's another story, how we move from the animal kingdom to the human kingdom, and we are walking towards the angelic kingdom. So with these words, we want to say thank you to all of you. And here in the center, we're going to do our final prayer and then the passes. All right?